Greetings, mortals, and happy Thanksgiving. Welcome to another episode of the TheReyCast. I'm your host, Reynard. Reynard, aka Show, Mr. Show. Follow me over on my other channel, even though you probably came from there. Regardless. Anyway, how you doing? Probably won't get to wish anyone a happy Thanksgiving, before Thanksgiving, so this is me wishing you a happy Thanksgiving now. So happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Have yourself a merry turkey day. I gotta say, shout out to Big Ass Goldfish, one of my followers over on Twitch. Great person. Love him. Because I woke up today to a little thank you message from him, and I really appreciate that. It got me in a good mood. I plan on that inspired me to actually maybe send out some thank yous myself. So go out there, spread the thankful cheer, just like Goldfish did. And who knows, maybe it'll be contagious like it infected me. Now I want to go and thank a bunch of people. I want to thank you guys for listening to this podcast here on episode 2, where we're on the way. Today I wanted to talk about Elite Dangerous, kind of because I talked about Starfield a lot last time, and I kind of want to continue shitting on Starfield, but I don't want to focus on Starfield, mostly because I re-downloaded Elite Dangerous recently, and it is... Well, hold on, let me preface with, I played a lot of Elite Dangerous back in the day. A lot of Elite Dangerous. Like, as much as I play Sea of Thieves today, is how much I played Elite Dangerous. I got into it with Nexus Dragon, one of my longtime friends, 10 years plus friend I've known online, met in person a whole bunch of times. Fantastic guy. Big shout out to Nexus there. Because playing Elite Dangerous reminds me of all the good times we had flying through space and doing our bounty hunting in Latuba. I was when I logged in to Elite Dangerous, I immediately went to the star system called Latuba, which is where me and Nexus had our kind of like base of operations at the starport there, called Sukup City, or maybe it's Suup City. I'm not sure on the pronunciation. It's SOUK UP. So it's I don't know. Maybe it's inspired by something. Maybe it's just a randomly generated name. But either way, that's our home, that's our base of operations, and guess what, Nexus, if you're listening to this, and everyone else out there, we can finally have a space bar. Finally, a space bar. Specifically in Elite Dangerous, which is the game where me and Nexus joked about having a space bar we could walk into because of Odyssey. So I did get Odyssey. I'm not sure if I mentioned that yet, but I had some errors. I got the orange Sidewinder error, which was like I couldn't connect to their servers. But after some emails with their support team, which is they were fantastic, by the way. Like, big shout out. I'm doing a lot of shout outs, but shout out to the Elite Dangerous support team. They were actually fantastic in helping me figure things out. I believe it was only like 2 replies necessary before we got to the root of the issue. And it was a pleasant experience. Plus they had like little commander names, which I thought was awesome. Like, it was like support agent commander, or support agent commander this or something. I forget what their names specifically were. I'm sorry. No, yeah, I can't remember, unless I pulled it up, but I don't wanna take the time to do that now. But yeah, Elite Dangerous Probably 10 out of 10 game for me. Um, S tier game. Now, a lot of this ranking is coming from my memory of the game. I see on Steam, I'm not blind. I see on Steam there's a lot of negative reviews. I haven't looked into those negative reviews. Um, but I'm sure I'm going to run into whatever those negative reviews happen to be, but so far my experience has been completely pleasant. It still has the underpinnings of all of the Elite Dangerous like things that they had like 10 years ago, which was like space flight and like bounty hunting and like joining a war as a mercenary, which I am big on. Like I'm a huge Star Fox fan. I don't know if you could tell, but I kind of like Fox characters. Um, probably because of Star Fox, more than likely. Um, but I like being a space merc. So like being able to fly into a war zone and then just like pick a side and then get war bonds from that is just kind of amazing. And after playing Starfield, like after coming from Starfield, that's just like any problems that I might have had just are not there because it's not Starfield. Um, which is really sad for Starfield, but I think good for Elite Dangerous because one, I have that nostalgia already for it. So I have and also I kind of know how to play the game a good one. I know a lot of people probably don't like it based on the fact that it's a realistic flight sim, essentially, which is why I love it. I love being able to and the stakes are high. Hold on. Well, okay, that's I should do the stakes after the controlling the flight is very realistic. It's like if you dock, you got to dock yourself. Um, I mean, of course, when you're getting pretty low to the ground, it'll lock on, but um, otherwise, you're pretty much free bird. Like if you're on a planet that's like 5 times the gravity of Earth's planet, and you're not aware of that, you're gonna crash your ship. You're gonna try and land, and you're gonna be like, "Why am I going like 1,000 kilometers a second?" And then you splat right on the ground. Oh my golly, it's a lot of fun because of that realism. I think like the simulative realism of Elite Dangerous is just what gets me. I feel like I can go to any planet, I can land there now thanks to Horizons. Horizons has been out for a while. Again, I've only played one day of Odyssey, so I'll get to that in a minute, but so I can't really say much about Odyssey specifically. Um, but as far as I can tell, it's like I almost prefer its gameplay over Starfield's already when it comes to the footwork. Like I went to I did like one combat mission on the surface of the planet, and just because like the stakes felt higher, and like in Starfield or any Bethesda game really, there aren't any stakes. Like, and I'm not talking about mammoth stakes or anything. I'm talking like risk, you know? Like you just quick save or there's an auto save every 2 seconds every time you jump to a new system in Starfield. Um so like if you blow up a horrible death, you can just leave or keep banging your head against the enemy until eventually maybe you win. But that's honestly, I don't know. I find that boring, you know? It's like, I could keep trying to fight this guy over and over again to complete this one quest. Um, but in Elite Dangerous, you actually gotta like escape. Like if the mission goes wrong, you gotta get out of there, and you gotta get out of there intact. Granted, I did die once in Odyssey on foot, and it looks like there's nothing really, which I think is great. It doesn't look like there's any huge penalty to dying. Not that I have seen yet. But normally when you die in Elite Dangerous, you gotta pay your insurance fee to like rebuild and refit your ship from scratch, basically, or whatever, however they do it in like their shipyards and stuff. But you got to pay that like insurance fee, and that insurance fee is huge when you have a bigger and bigger ship. Like me, I fly an Anaconda. An Anaconda is like a warship, basically. It's just a large class warship, um, which is amazing. But it has like an insurance of like I didn't look at it, but if I can recall correctly, I think it's like 11, 11 million, 11 million credits or something like that. And for context, missions pay out about, I don't know, anywhere from a quarter million to, uh, there's some really hard missions that you'll likely die doing for a couple million. Um, but like I've only seen like 1 to 9 million job offers, but they were all like threat fours, which are normally pretty hard. At least I think they are. I don't know. I have a pretty good ship because I played a lot, but getting back into it, I'm not sure exactly where my line is again. Like I played all these other space games after Elite Dangerous, so they're kind of like muddling. They're like muddling the water in a weird way. Like I keep thinking like a feature that's in X4 Foundations is in there and it's not, or like even in Starfield and it's not. Like yeah, I was like, can't I make my frame shift drive go faster if I like put all my power to systems or engine or something like that? And I was getting that from Starfield, where if you put more power towards your grav drive, you can gravity drive out faster. But you can't do that in Elite Dangerous. At least I don't think. I didn't notice a difference, but I think Starfield was just influencing me in that moment. So I gotta kind of like relearn Elite Dangerous. But I'm having a great time with it. But yeah, let me go back to what I was gonna talk. See, recalling. I'm recalling. I'm able to recall. I'm very forgetful, but I can recall this. The stakes of Elite Dangerous, which I think are great. I mean, that is kind of what I was talking about. The insurance, like if your ship blows up, you got to pay a lot of money, and that's the problem. If you keep blowing up your ship over and over again, and you can't pay the money anymore, it's like worse than Dark Souls. You can't you can't buy your ship anymore. So you gotta just not buy your ship, and then they'll probably put you in a sidewinder or something. At least that was the original way. I wonder if there's a new thing that happens to you in Odyssey, where if you have no more ships, I think they do actually go even further, because I think you couldn't go any lower than like a sidewinder. I think you couldn't like even lose your sidewinder, otherwise the game would be unplayable if you didn't have a ship. Um, and a sidewinder is the smallest starter ship that you can get. Um, yeah, they might have something because you're able to shuttle around now in Elite Dangerous. You're able to like charter a shuttle, and you can even charter like interstellar shuttle trips. So you can survive pretty much. I wonder if that costs money, because if you have no money, I don't know how you're gonna shuttle. But that being said, there's also missions that are posted around, and it might be hard to get to one of those missions if you don't have a ship. I wonder how you would do that. Because you could pick up a mission at the place that you're at, where you respawn. You normally respawn at like a docking port or something that has docking port capabilities, outfitting capabilities. I'm pretty sure. Could change now. Could have changed. Everything could have changed. It's been again like probably like close to 10 years. Not 10 years. No, I'm gonna. That's a little too much. I think I'm gonna give a graceful 5 years since I last played, even though it feels like 10. Nah, it's more likely 5. I might be exaggerating a little bit. Might be exaggerating a little bit. I do that from time to time. Hmm. Side note: this coffee shop right down the road normally has these like specialty coffees and stuff. And today's was cranberry white mocha, and it is delicious. All right, now that was your white girl moment from Reynard. This white mocha latte is delicious. Anyway. Anyway. What was I talking about? Starfield? No, Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous. That's what we're talking about. Ooh, Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous. I can't wait to play more. I think it's going to be a good time. I also got fellow streamer friend Buddha the Fett into it as well, I believe. I'm not sure if he's launched it yet or played around with it yet. But he might have to, take some time getting used to the controls and stuff. And if you're out there thinking about, if you're disappointed by Starfield and you have Elite Dangerous, I recommend going back to it. Notice how I said if you have Elite Dangerous. I don't know if you would or should buy Elite Dangerous. I'm not sure yet. I think you should. Never mind. I'm going back on that. I think Elite Dangerous is a great game. Even without Odyssey, you could just remove Odyssey from the equation, and I still think it's a good game. But no, yeah, I didn't actually Google or like troll the forums. Looking around Reddit posts, seeing what exactly is people's like problem with Elite Dangerous. But to me, it's a highly immersive space simulator. You could be a trucker. You can store up your ship with a bunch of goods, figure out the economy. There's a full breathing economy in the game. Like if you find out that there's a really dense ice crystal belt in one system, and you're like, oh, but also there's this other system that has a water deficiency. Let me go mine this water from this water asteroid belt, and then you just come on back and then sell that water. I'm not sure if water goes for a lot, but that was just an example. Normally like rare metals obviously will go for a lot. Or even just like livery goods. I think that's what they call them, livery goods, luxury goods. There's plenty of that in the game too that you could just like buy and sell straight on the market. I prefer combat roles, which are more dangerous because you have that insurance cost again, and you tend to blow up a lot more. So what I like to do is I don't really like taking my anaconda out. Don't laugh. Don't laugh at that sentence. But yeah, my anaconda starship, my warship, because it is a pretty powerful ship, and I end up taking it into combat anyway. It's probably my best ship, but that's only if I know I'm going to be destroying like low-level pirates or something I can handle. If it's something big, I'm scared because I don't want to blow up my my big ship because that incurs a lot of insurance cost. So what I like to do is I like to hop into a small fighter ship, and then I start going out in that fighter ship, and I have a much lower insurance cost if I die, but then I can also like go into a war zone, and then just help them fight, help whatever side I'm more inclined to fight. I typically go with the system security and fight pirates and stuff, but you can be a pirate if you so wish. You could be a malcontent, you could be a rebel even. You can try and take over your system. There's a lot of like warship stuff. I haven't looked into the warships at all, pretty much. I think they started releasing the warships around when I stopped playing, so I could probably, triangulate when I stopped playing if I really tried, but it was around when warships came out. I think I played a little bit into when they had warships, but then I know I called my Anaconda a warship, but it's not like these warships. These puppies are big. They're like basically movable space stations. And I think you got to be part of like a high-ranking squadron, which are kind of like the guild system in the game. Um, and then you can go to one, or I think you can go to most. Actually, I'm not sure. I know that I've seen quests that are like disable the weapons on a warship or steal something from them. It's pretty in depth. I'm not entirely sure because I haven't played around with them as much. I just remember wanting one when they first teased them and when they first released. I was like, oh man, we gotta get this bigger ship, because that was the whole deal with Elite Dangerous back in the day. That was the whole goal, at least for me. Me and Nexus, we were just like, we need the biggest ships. We need bigger and bigger ships. Um, so I eventually got up to the Anaconda, but I stopped because I thought the Anaconda was a nice, like, kind of mobile operations combat mercenary multi-role ship, where it had a good enough frame shift drive where I could like travel with it pretty easily. It also has a fighter bay, which was something they added, which I absolutely love. The fighter bay is so much fun. I will just drop out into a random empty pocket of space at launch in my fighter and just do barrel rolls all day because Nintendo won't release another Star Fox game. That's the real reason. Oh, Nintendo, please give me another Star Fox game. I would really like it. But don't ruin it this time. Like, no one likes Zero. Does anyone like Zero? I mean, I didn't play Zero, so I guess I can't say I have an official opinion on Zero, but I also kind of refused to play Zero because it was a total rewrite of 64. And I'm like, how are you gonna just rewrite 64 when there was nothing wrong with it? Like, there was absolutely nothing wrong with the story in 64. And I don't even think they changed all that much. I think I watched, like, the cutscene movie or whatever you see on YouTube. And it just looks like there was this weird extra scene where the Aperoids attack. Wait, no. It's not even the Aperoids. I think it just looks like the Aperoids. Yeah, I think Corneria City is attacked, but it's attacked by like Aperoid-like machines that are just Venomian. I don't know. I'm jumping around topics a lot. This is my space cast, I guess. I'm gonna start talking about more space. Talk about all the space things on my podcast. Um, but I like space. Space is great. Space is limitless potential. It's literally going back to the Wild West, is how I see it. It's like when there was an untamed America, it was just absolute insanity in all directions. That's exactly how space exploration is gonna be, because there's just too much to manage. It's I can't think of any, but I'm sure there's an old Chinese proverb or something that says that a nation that's too big can't manage its walls or something like that. That sounds right. That sounds like an ancient proverb, right? If not, quote me on that. I coined it. I coined that phrase right now, just now. If your nation's too big, it's hard to build your walls, and maintain them. Anyway, um, I don't know why I was talking about that. Honestly, don't. I think I got sidetracked. I forget what I was talking about. All right, coffee break. Take a sip of coffee, and all will become clear. All right. Um, Elite Dangerous had a lot of fun times, guys. A lot of fun times. Which is why I say mostly it could be the nostalgia that's bringing me back into it. Um, there was a guild. I guess you could call it a guild. I think it was before Squadrons came out, so it wasn't like an official guild. It was like an online kind of guild thing. At the time, I believe. Probably has a squadron going for it now. I should look into that. But they were called the Canon Research Group, and their sole mission was to they were basically what Starfield's interstellar gang, or what they call themselves, Constellation. That's it. They were basically what Constellation wanted to be, but actually was. They were a group of explorers and researchers, player explorers and researchers, um, that put a lot of like real life scientific tools and theories, and could apply realism, actual science, to the game, because it was a sandbox simulator. So iron is iron, and gas is gas, and helium is helium, and everything is very scientific, very very much science, high levels of science, power levels. Um, but these guys went above and beyond, and I fell in love with this group because they were researching something, and this is the first time I ever heard of it, because I was just playing the game as a mercenary. I was just like, yeah, this is a cool space game where I can be a mercenary and I can fly around, shoot ships, and the works, the works. And then this Canon Research Group, they told me, hey, we think there might be aliens out there. And I was like, for real? You're telling me this game has aliens? And I was sold from that moment. From that moment on, they said, we think there might be aliens, and we want to be the first to find them. Because in previous games, previous iterations of Elite, there was a species of alien that was very implicated in the plot, apparently. And they were called the Thargoids. And this Canon Research Group was a group of older players who played the old Elite Dangerous game and knew of these Thargoids. And and when I say this, the old game, I mean like just look up how old Elite is. I think it's like, what was that, a CRT game or something like that? Was that what they called it? A CRT game? It played on like a CRT monitor. I think that's also what you call it. I can't remember, but it's old. Floppy disk old. Floppy disk old. If you don't know what a floppy disk is, that's how old it is. But yeah, so, and it was basically just lines on a black background with some dots to represent stars. But it had these Thargoids, and these guys were paranoid that the Thargoids would make an appearance in Elite Dangerous, the most recent iteration of the game, and they were scouring the galaxy to find it. And mind you, the size of Elite Dangerous is a 1-to-1 of the Milky Way galaxy. A 1-to-1. Just Google how many stars are in the Milky Way galaxy right now. Just do a quick Google search of that. Oh, wait. It's 200 million. I think it's 200 million. It should be like close to 200 million. That's a lot. That's a lot of stars. That's a lot of stars. And they were determined to comb through all of it to find any sign of these Thargoids. And guess what? After a few months of research and different ideas and different, like, they were putting spectrographs up, and they were like, we think these areas have the most moisture that could help the Thargoid kind of like insectoid species kind of thrive. So we were trying to look for specific environments that there's xenobiology would be suited for. And I think it was like, what was it? I think it was methane. I think they breathe methane or something like that. So we were looking for like high methane deposits and planets with a high methane atmosphere and stuff like that. And as we kept searching, eventually in the Pleiades Nebula, which is a nebula you can look up in the night sky, right? Like, well, most of you could probably see it, But if you know where Orion is, here's a little star facts for you. I love space. If you know where Orion is, if you locate his belt, it's probably the easiest. If you see his belt and then you know he's like pointing a bow or holding a club or whatever, but whichever way he's facing, follow the way he's facing. I should just tell you, it's to the right. Follow from him to the right, and you'll see a small cluster of stars that kind of look like a miniature. Sorry, I'm belching up this white mocha cranberry. Sorry. But yeah, the Pleiades Nebula. It's this small cluster of stars. It kind of looks like like a miniature version of the Big Dipper. You may have even seen it before in your life, and you've always called it like the Little Big Dipper or something like that, which is what I did as a kid. But that's the Pleiades Nebula, and we found in this Pleiades Nebula a barnacle. No, I'll repeat that, a barnacle. Like what? Like no official release from the game or the devs. It wasn't like, hey, come check out our barnacle for $19.99 here on Fortnite. Like, get the barnacle skin now. Cover your ship in barnacles, yeah, for only $50, yeah. Like, there was none of that. We just found a barnacle sitting on a planet that had a methane atmosphere, and we researched the crap out of that thing. We put it through so many tests. It was unbelievable. Tests that I didn't even know that you could perform were put on this thing. I learned about spectrographing because of Elite Dangerous. I know how to spectrograph because of Elite Dangerous. Because when you would, I think... No, that was a different thing. Well, let me just talk about that then. After the barnacle, they, through some crazy ingenuity, I'm kind of not remembering exactly the steps that it took to get there, but eventually we found floating in space a probe that was organic in nature and chitinous, so it was definitely screaming I'm a Thargoid and I'm part of the barnacle mystery. And it was just kind of floating there ominously, and you could, I think it was your discovery scanner. So your discovery scanner is normally something that you pulse out into a solar system, and then you can mark and find all of the different bodies of all the different stellar bodies. And so, no one really thought of doing this to the probe at first, but after people kept testing it, one person released a video in the Discord of them honking at it. We called it honking because if you do the discovery scanner, it sounds kind of like a honk. But it reacted. It like did an EMP pulse. It freaked the frick out, dude. It like messed with your ship's communications, and all of the HUD went glitchy. First time anything like this ever happened, and it pulsed, and it would push your ship back a little bit, and it would play this weird, creepy audio in your ship. And people put it through an audiograph or whatever you call it, or is that a spectrogram? A spectrograph. Spectrogram or spectrograph? Whatever one you put audio through and it like makes an image of it. They did that to this audio, and they found like a hidden message in there from the Thargoids, and it was more puzzly after that, and then you had to figure out all the different puzzles that we found in this spectrograph of the sound that this probe made when we launched scanned it with a discovery scanner. And it was just so intriguing. It was so interesting, and it was beautiful. It was like a true mystery that us players had to come together and find out. And I remember like being part of a fleet that was literally combing a planet for barnacles. Like, we were just orbiting the planet. There was like, I don't know, 4 to 8 of us, I would say. coming in and out, taking turns and doing stuff. But around 4 to 8 of us were just like flying around the planet, just orbiting it, looking for any sign that there could be a barnacle. And the reason we could do this is because someone pointed out at the first barnacle that we found that the sand, I think it was like you could see it from space because the sand kind of like swirled. You could see from the atmosphere, but it was kind of hard to tell because it was still pretty small. So you had to fly kind of low. But the lower you flew, and the bigger the planet, the more ground you have to cover. Um, so it was a multi-person project to try and find these barnacles. I think we found upwards of like 5 or 6 in my memory, and each one led us to a different thing. There was eventually a facility that we found, or at least what I would call a facility. It was like a much larger barnacle, but it had doors, and you could I don't think I was part of the group that figured this one out, but they figured out how to get in there. So I watched the video of this one. They figured out how to get in, and they did something. I think they scanned or they did something, and then the whole facility started freaking out, going into red alert, like they weren't supposed to be there. And I can't remember what happened. Probably EMP. They liked the EMP a lot, but everything was really organic, which made it weird. I know that's what most space games do, is they do like an organic, chitinous kind of alien race, but I think the way it was presented in Elite Dangerous was so beautiful, because it actually made it weird. Like, you play any other, like Destiny or something. Like, I don't even know if Destiny has insect people, but it probably does. Like Destiny, you're shooting a million of these aliens. I mean, I know I'm comparing apples and oranges here, but like in most space games, their aliens are right in your face. They're like, I'm the blah blah blah, and I hail from the planet Gliglorg, and I can do this weird thing with my tongue. Look, blah, 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 like it's weird, but it's in your face weird. It's not subtle weird. Like, think of any insectoid race in space stuff, and normally they're just there as like almost like a visual gag. Like this one made me fear them because I didn't even see them. I just saw essentially what to be assumed their technology, which was horrifying, because it was stuff like us humans in an advanced age with advanced technology ourselves couldn't understand and figure out. And our technology would clash in weird ways. Like, I think it was even explained that the Discovery scanner uses a certain kind of, like, LADAR technology to detect, hit things with, and that certain frequency of light that got sent out caused the reaction from the probe because it was using light as like a way to signal or something like that. But I love how scientific it is. That's the main point. Is like everything had an explanation to it. And not only that, but since it had so much science, you could apply forensics to it, and we could then figure out where the Thargoids were going to show up next. And then it happened. And then the incident happened. Oh my golly. So what happened was the grand reveal happened. The most horrifying thing basically ever that could happen happened to one of our canon researchers. They got okay, so when you go through Frameshift Drive, which is kind of like their warp drive, I guess you could call it, but you go into this area called Witch Space, which, as far as I understand, is an alternate dimension, but an alternate dimension that's like much smaller or something than than our dimension. So you can just, you take less time flying through that, and then you come out, on another side that's much further away, or something like that. But basically, this alternate dimension is the home of these Thargoids that we learned, because they could do something called interdiction on you in Witch Space, which was super scary, because up until this point, a lot of people, normally police, in systems, when you're going through kind of like a sublight level. No, not sublight. It's like, what do you call it? Like, there's normal driving, then there's a frame shift drive. I used to know all these words. I'm gonna have to relearn them. But basically, there's one where you go throughout the solar system with that makes you go fast enough that you can get to planet to planet. Normally you could get interdicted in that state, but when you were jumping star system to star system, you were normally safe. That was your full on get out of jail free card, was just try and jump to another system, and then you'd be pretty free unless someone could actually scan your wake or the your jump hole, I guess, and then follow you through the jump hole. If you ever watched the movie Jumper, it's kind of like that when Samuel L. Jackson's character sprays the stuff. I'm recalling an old movie here, but I love Jumper. It's a great movie. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check it out. It's great because I love the concept. Oh, be right back. Okay, I am back. I had a customer, and this is the one of the problems of doing it at work. I know I said this last time or previous podcast, but due to my extreme forgetfulness, I'm going to probably struggle to get back onto track. We were talking about Elite Dangerous, right? I think I was talking about the Thargoids. I was talking about the mystery involving the Thargoids. And how that was a lot of fun trying to uncover all that. And then I started going towards the incident. I teased the incident. Where were we exactly? I think I was explaining Witch Space, maybe? This different dimension called Witch Space. At least I called it Witch Space. I actually don't know if that's the official term. I don't know where that came from, but I think it's called Witch Space. Anyway, that's what I've always called it. Mostly because it's very haunting. It's a very scary warp drive jump. Like, if you've seen warp drives, like even in like Starfield, the warp drive is like pretty cool. I'm saying like a lot. The warp drive kind of is very bright and colorful and kind of like warps the light around, and and it's kind of like adventurous and hopeful. You're going into the light, on to the next, that kind of thing. No Man's Sky even has like a bright and very colorful warp as well. But Elite Dangerous, you go into this dark place where you just see your destination, the star, dead ahead of you, and your computer is locked on, but you're just in for the ride because your ship is shaking. It's you're feeling the the effects of whatever this weird dimension is, and there's nebulas and other stars flying by, and there's this eerie noise, just sounds like a wailing ghost, basically, in your ear. It's a horrifying warp drive, but I love it. That's why, I guess maybe that's why I call it Witch Space, because it just sounds cool and also fits the theme of it, honestly. But yeah, so we believe Thargoids live in Witch Space because of a couple of other lore reasons, like they're, I believe, in historical canons, like the previous games, they had a planet that could go into Witch Space. So there's a planet that can teleport around, basically, using this Witch Space, which might be the Thargoid homeworld. I'm thinking this teleporting planet. I heard about that briefly, but yeah. So these Thargoids can interdict you, or basically pull you out of Witch Space to attack you. And the first time this happened to a canon researcher, they released the video, and I remember seeing it like it was just, I felt like an actual scientist seeing confirmation that aliens exist for the first time. Like, I was that excited. Even though it's all simulated, obviously it's all a video game, but the hype was so good that by the time I saw an actual Thargoid ship interdict someone and it came around this flower looking weird gravity pulsating ship, and then it slowly turning, and then it like flittering, like you ever see like a bird get the chills? It kind of like chittered and fluttered its scales. It honked, and it was really creepy. It EMP'd the guy immediately, and I'm not sure what happened at first. I think they actually just scanned at first. Yeah, that's what they did, which was horrifying because they would EMP you, your ship would shut off, and then they would go. They would fly up to you and scan you with this bright, flickering yellow light that also sounded horrifying. So it's just the most terrifying experience probably when you actually get interdicted by one of these guys. Um, but at first they just left. And they would then leave and teleport away. And we got a lot of information from that. People were like trying to use third person view to see inside the cockpit, and like there was a lot of new research when that came out. And that was like aliens confirmed, Thargoids confirmed, they're here. Oh man.
This is top tier recording right here. This is why we should be streamers.
Yeah, we should totally be streamers. Also, I think my audio is still bad.
Disengaging. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh. There he is. He's scanning you.
Hi, friend. Hi, friend. I know, so am I. That's why we need the scanners.
Oh, red?
Wait, I'm not gonna move.
It's red.
Yeah, it deployed its hardpoints. Look at it.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna get closer.
He's moving away from you.
Hi, friend, dude. Hi. Come back here. What are we ever?
And it was the coolest thing ever. And I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because there became like a small little like segment of chase. Like people were trying to get interdicted by the aliens, the Thargoids, and they just kept trying to egg them on and trying to like get their attention more and more because they wanted to. At least the Canon Research Group, we were trying to find a peaceful interaction. Because apparently in old Elite games, the Thargoids could be peaceful if you chose certain, certain routes of interaction with them. And what's cool is that it's like the devs kind of decide, and it's also based on community and what the community is doing. So it's very fluid, which is kind of like Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves has a lot of these strong points, which I think are great for a live service. That's what you need for a live service. Like a live service can't just be like loot boxes, and then you just occasionally release a new skin. I'm looking at you, Overwatch. Damn you, Overwatch. Anyway, but you can't, like, a live service should like have this really cool story that involves the community and the players. Especially if it's like an adventure MMO like Elite Dangerous or Sea of Thieves. Like for example, in Sea of Thieves, we got the choice of banishing one of the Athena characters, Pendragon, versus banishing the main antagonist, Flameheart, Captain Flameheart, and the community chose, obviously to keep Flameheart and to banish Pendragon because they loved the writing of Captain Flameheart, and that would have been a really anticlimactic end to his story. So pretty much even the Athenas wanted Flameheart to stay. So it was like pretty unanimous that happened. But then other times, like the battle for the Golden Sands, you've got pirates on the Reaper and the Athena side both trying to like fight over an island for control over it. Now we could have had 2 Reaper islands, but instead we got a new Athena port called Port Merrick. And that's because of what the community did. So I think that's what really makes live services shine, is when you feel like your actions impact the growth of the world or what happens in the world. And all this to say, in Elite Dangerous, after we were chasing down these Thargoid ships and, trying to get their attention and stuff, we had a opportunity strike where I believe there was like this xenobiologist, xenolinguist or something, xenolinguist I think it was, which kind of reminds me of Arrival, or maybe I'm just stealing that from Arrival. Fantastic movie, by the way. Definitely check that one out if you like aliens and first contacts and stuff like that. But yeah, so they got a xeno Scientologist, and he or they or whoever it was in a ship guarded by a small fleet of mercenaries, I think, or something like that, or maybe their faction, I can't remember. And they were going to go to an area that we believe the Thargoids were going to go to actually like talk with us or communicate with us, and we had the in-game NPC xenolinguist with us, or the translator, and we were really hopeful that this was going to cause, peace between the Thargoids and the humans. And then it all changed when a commander named Harry Potter everything changed when Harry Potter attacked. Harry Potter, I believe he was part of a pirate, a player-ran pirate gang. So this pirate gang, he was the leader, I believe, of this pirate gang, launched an attack against the translator and and everyone escorting it, because it was just like a small escort of NPC ships, but it was like a whole bunch of other canon researchers with their ships, and other people involved and knew about what was happening at that time, because there's a really in-depth like news station you can listen to in game that tells you about like all the cool and hip things happening, which is really neat and further increases the immersion, in my opinion, that you like feel like you're just get into my ship, turn on the news, see what happened today, like see what the galactic news is going for, how's the war going, what's the tea, what's the tea. But basically people who were, had their attention focused on what was going on, they were there and they were ready to defend if they wanted to defend. But this pirate commander, Harry Potter, it's really funny. I was pissed. I was real pissed at the time, but it's funny looking back on it because it's just so silly that a guy named Harry Potter ruined everything, because him and his fleet came in and they shot the translator's ship, and the translator was in a small ship, and this guy had a hit and run tactic, so he had like some really powerful gauze lasers or something on his ship, maybe even missiles. I'm not sure what he outfitted it with, but he had some powerful weaponry on board, and he took out the translator like an assassin. I'm pretty sure that's how it went down. And then there was this big battle against pirates and the Canon Research Group that ensued shortly after. And this display of not getting along, this display of warfare at the moment that they're supposed to have first contact with the Thargoids, made the Thargoids either disappointed or angry with us. I'm sure there's more involved. I can't entirely. Maybe I'll do a full edited and scripted video of Elite Dangerous and do an its lore, because it has some interesting, fun lore that I might even recap all that I'm talking about in this podcast. But yeah, so Harry Potter attacked. Thargoids now don't like us anymore, and I believe shortly after some more things happened, the Thargoids had enough, because I think they were even shot at a few times. So now that the Thargoids were shot at, they took that as, declaration of war, and now to this day, at least as of yesterday still, I, looked at the, after not playing for so long, after all this happened, Now I'm looking at the aftermath, and the news that I was talking about that normally says like, sales of water bottles have gone up 20% last week, is now all about like the Thargoids have taken this system from. There's a full-on Thargoid war. I'm not sure if the Thargoids are winning or if they're losing, if we're finally pushing them back. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the positioning is of the Thargoid war, but we are definitely still at war, and there's definitely still Thargoids around. So we didn't resolve that issue, so that whole climatic event, it felt like history. That's why I just told you that story as if I was like some grizzled old war veteran that was like, this is what happened, and now we're still at war with the Thargoids, and I was there. You know? I was there when Harry Potter attacked. Oh my gosh, it's so silly, but it's true. And it's completely true. No fibbing whatsoever. Yeah, all this to say, Elite Dangerous, great game in my book. Because all that took like maybe a whole year, maybe 2 years of just like investigating and trying to figure things out. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it feels like close to 1 to 2 years that we were adventuring around and scouring around and trying to figure out what this mystery was and where the Thargoids were, and then to finally find them and to then go to war with them, which is exactly what we didn't want as the canon research group. But players be players. They wanted a war with the Thargoids because that would have been fun. That would have been content. And I don't know what a peaceful galaxy with the Thargoids would have looked like. I'm sure something would have gone wrong eventually. I'm sure something would have gone wrong in order for them to attack, because it just feels natural for an alien species to attack the humans. I don't know why, but it just feels natural. So it was only a matter of time that the Thargoids got pissed at us and started attacking. But yeah, I definitely look forward to looking more into that. See how the Thargoid situation really is going. I don't know if like humanity is about to be wiped out, or if the Thargoids are being pushed out of the human inhabited bubble. I'm not entirely sure. There's some crazy projects in Elite Dangerous. Like there's a huge journey and like an odyssey, if you will, that you could do to go to this place called Beagle Point, which is on the opposite side of the galaxy from the human bubble. So you need to like fly for about like a week. Like I'm not even kidding, like a week or two or however often you get to play, but you gotta just like keep jumping systems over and over and over again until you finally get there, which will take a good long while IRL. Which is why I have never gone there, but I do like exploring. I have a exploration ship I have outfitted for just like long distance jumps. And that's the one I did a lot of my canon research in as well, I believe. I even have an old YouTube video, I think, on a different channel, one of my personal channels, of me getting shot down over one of these barnacle things. Actually, I am probably going to edit this, so I'll probably put it on screen now. Sector, day and night, every day, searching for, well, I guess anything alien related, but I think we just hit the literal landmine, I mean gold mine. It could probably be a landmine too. There goes some other info. Very large ships here. That is all part of the center. This is so strange, it seems to be circular. I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at. waters now. All the ships that you see here are, in fact... Oh, shoot. Am I being attacked? That guy wasn't attacked. Definitely seemed like a hostile. Hostile action done. Definitely being attacked. Oh shit. I guess I can help, but I'm just an exploration ship I don't have. Oh no. Okay, was it on screen? I'm not sure if it was on screen. It probably was on screen, because I am a fantastic editor. And you didn't even realize that this podcast is going to have editing. Anyway, so it looks like I'm about an hour into my recording. I feel like, as always, I could talk a lot more about this subject. But, we'll see how I feel for the next podcast. For now, I appreciate y'all listening. Again, have a happy Thanksgiving. Remember to be thankful. Remember to thank someone today or tomorrow. Or even if you're not watching this on Thanksgiving, just thank someone, doesn't hurt. Yeah, thank you for watching the TheReyCast. Check me out on my main channel on the Reynard Show. I plan on increasing my productivity a lot more. So look forward to more content, maybe, possibly. Who knows? I promised it once before, so I won't leave your hopes up. But I hope that just having more content will be evidence enough that I am doing it. So, without further ado, I'll see you guys next time on The Reynard Show.